Okay.
We are live. Hey guys, welcome to episode 16 of the weekly. And of course, we have our usual host of characters, starting off with Mr. Sam. How's it going, man?
Oh God, that was so poorly done. I'm fine, thank you. How you doing, everyone?
And of course, Mr. Juan Bagnell.
Hey, how's it going, guys? I've got my coffee. It's sort of a slightly different setup today, but I think it should work. So hopefully we can keep this ship afloat.
So here's the game for the day. Please identify all the little action figures in Juan's little frame right there. Please list it out in the comment section.
Stop at the surface? Okay.
Yes.
And you also have to catch the stuff that's behind me too. So as I'm moving around.
Exactly. He will move around. He might get up. He might do a side pan, like all that stuff in there.
I'm on a headset today, so I'm perfectly able to navigate the whole office.
Okay, cool. Just a couple of quick notes. The weekly, again, I apologize. I still haven't put it on the podcast up. I haven't updated it. I promise I will do it this weekend. So if you guys subscribe to the podcast, I'm really sorry. Definitely check it out. Also, check out Tekbeard Podcast. It's a bi-weekly podcast by Adam, who is part of the Pocket Now network and also contributor here at Booredatwork. Pretty cool, very laid back podcast. So go ahead and check it out. We have the link for you guys in the description. So let us kick things off. We don't have usenesses for this week. It was kind of a slow week in general. But if you guys have one, please go ahead and submit it and then we'll talk about it. But let's start off with some of the news items we had this week. T-Mobile announced Digits. Basically, it's, as Juan put it, it's basically Google Voice from T-Mobile. And will kick off and be available on the 31st of May. Every T-Mobile number will be automatically turned to a digits number. And if you want to use the service, you have to pay an extra $10 a month to be able to do that. But your numbers will be automatically, converted to that. So I just want to ask you guys, what do you guys think of Digits? Do you think it's a good move, a bad move, or whatever?
It's Google Voice. From T-Mobile. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, the Un-carrier has done something new again. Something no one has ever seen before.
No. They
revolutionary.
They didn't have a big press announcement. They just sent out press releases.
No, they had a video.
Did they?
Yeah, no, but had a video too. He put out a video, man.
I kind of stopped watching these videos.
No, you shouldn't have watched that. You shouldn't have watched that.
I didn't watch it. I just kind of.
No, you shouldn't have. I regret watching it. No, seriously, I regret watching it. Because I'm looking at this thing, I'm like, I've never seen this before. It's like, oh, and if you want, and your phone's dead, you can actually put your number on your friend's phone. I'm like, oh, that's gonna go there. It's gonna go over very well. Put your number on your friend's phone, and then those texts, man, texts are gonna be beautiful.
That was a bad example of.
Well, because he didn't want to say your wife's phone, because how that would go.
Well, I think you should check your gender normative ideas about the population.
Right? Yeah.
Not everybody has a wife. So there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
people have partners. Partners.
Wait. Let's not even go there. Sam and I are the married ones here, okay? We're going to try to pull that kind of crap here.
Yeah, sorry. My wife is pretty cute.
Did you just use this podcast this show as a way to basically score points with your wife, man? What did you do, Juan? What happened?
She might actually even be watching. That's awesome.
No, it's nothing new. It's nothing new. If anyone has used Google Voice, they'll be very familiar with what the whole concept is. I'm glad that a major carrier is rolling this out, but I think this probably faces the same pitfalls that Google faced. The fact that people are not going to understand exactly what this is and how to use this. And if enough people don't sign up for this, enough people don't use this, it's going to go by the wayside. Regardless of if they convert all T-Mobile numbers to digit numbers, if enough people don't sign up for that $10 a month digit service, which is what costs extra, right? If you want to get an extra number, it's not going to go anywhere, and you're going to end up shuttering in the next few years.
I slightly disagree. It's T-Mobile. All the Un-carrier stuff has worked, and they know how to tell people in stores.
Yeah.
what to do,
That's
but one carrier is very different. One carrier is very different.
No. But I'm saying that
trying to do right now.
But every single on-carrier program they have, they do a good job in stores. Because I go to T-Mobile, so I'm a T-Mobile customer, and they try to pitch it to me, and I'm going.
So the two on-carrier, the three on-carrier stuff they have. How involved are people in it?
The binge stuff.
You would actually have to know what T-Mobile subscriber demographic is actually using, and I'm sure T-Mobile isn't actually publishing.
No. What I mean, what I mean is, do I actively have to sign up for that service? As in, you get your you get basically the same minutes you use here, your 4G connection overseas. I don't have to sign up for that.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that
you don't have a contract. I don't have to sign up for that. That's implied.
It doesn't matter. I'm saying when you
have to sign up for.
But when you go to a store, forget that. I'm talking about their marketing. They push it they inform you in the store.
They're pretty aggressive about it too.
So I'm saying on that part, right?
You will have digits. You will have digits now. You will have digits forever. You keep going with digits.
I'm just saying, compared to Google Voice, where it's like, we techies know Google Voice, right?
Yeah,
T-Mobile is telling everyone.
That's exactly the point, because think about the success of Google Voice hinged on people like us being evangelists, right? And every time we've run into that, I mean, we've talked about this with numerous companies. If that's your game plan, if that's your strategy, then it's gonna fail at the mass consumer level. And I still I tell people about Google Voice and what I think the benefits are, and being able to text from a browser, take phone calls, voicemail, all that fun stuff. And they kind of nod at me and go, "Hey, neat." But when they walk into a T-Mobile store and they have one of those reps actually pitching, showing it off, talking about the benefits of it, and that's sort of a legitimate corporate relationship, then that is so much more effective by having real boots on the ground to pitch and promote a product. So what ultimately, I mean, because I kind of tweeted it out there a little snarky, like, am I missing something? Is this really different? But ultimately, now that I've had a little time to think about it, I think this is a great move, because if anything, it'll just hopefully spur on a little bit more competition for Project Fi, for Google Voice, that Google will be less likely to abandon these kinds of projects, because now they're seeing examples of companies making money. I would happily give Google $10 a month for Google Voice support to make it a better product, to make it, to make updates more aggressive on this platform. I mean, we go a long time between Google Voice updates. And so if T-Mobile can put a little pressure on there, then that's actually something I would consider doing business with T-Mobile again, to get this type of service from a carrier and know that it'll probably be supported better over the long run.
Yeah. Okay. I guess Sam has nothing else to say. We shut it down.
Win that debate, right?
Shut it down. Damn. Okay. Okay, let's get up to the next news topic. Sam's back. Is there anything you want to add? Because Juan basically.
Yeah, I just basically stirred a pot of meat that's cooking, and I put pepper in it, and the pepper got in my eye. I would like to add that. Yeah.
Buddy. That's okay. So
I got cayenne pepper in the eye.
We introduced my daughter. We had just a little bit of New Mexican green chili in a bean and rice dish, and my daughter loved it. She's scarfing it down, and she kind of eats full face because she's still pretty young, and so she's got stuff all over her cheeks, and she's kind of trying to wipe her face off, and she gets just a teeny little bit of it in her eye.
Oh.
The worst.
I feel that way right now.
But it's awesome, everyone has that first experience. The first time I ever roasted green chili, and I had the oils on my fingers, and I go to wipe my face, and the second I touch my face, I'm an idiot. Oh, this is gonna burn so bad.
Yeah,
I'm such a dork.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's move on. Intel is opening up Thunderbolt 3 as open source, no royalty fees to all PC manufacturers, which is fantastic news as Computex is around the corner, which should spur more Thunderbolt devices. And they're also working with Microsoft, stated. So means we're going to probably see more Thunderbolt devices, also more Thunderbolt devices supporting AMD down the line, because we're going to be seeing some AMD stuff like laptops at Computex. I'm not saying it will have Thunderbolt, but this is good news for Thunderbolt and that uptake that we need because, I've said it, why don't I have graphics cards that have Thunderbolt instead of, DVI? Nobody uses DVI anymore. At least add just one Thunderbolt in there. And then I can have, monitors with Thunderbolt in there and then I'm good, things like that where it just keeps expanding along the way. So I think it's good news. What do you guys think?
This is one of the most exciting announcements of the week, and it's been one of the quietest. This is huge progress for this standard, for this connection interface. And in that way that Microsoft was a little cagey with the Surface laptop, like, oh, there's consumer confusion about what's Thunderbolt and what's USB-C. So we're not going to play with it at all. And instead we'll come up with a proprietary connector for our products. This is a perfect example of when the industry gets something right, you want to be on the right side of the industry. And for all of the shade that Apple got in only including Thunderbolt ports on the new MacBook, I know they were a little early, but once we start adopting this cable standard, this is going to be a huge benefit to consumers across the board. So for Intel to make this move and to actually spur on this kind of adoption is enormous, is humongous, and I can't give them a bigger thumbs up for making the play.
Don't forget that part of this release, part of this announcement is that they are going to be integrating this.
That's right.
Chipsets. So you don't need an extra chip in order to get your Thunderbolt.
What was the name? It was like an expensive chip called Alpine.
Alpine Ridge, I think they call it.
That's right.
Yeah. So basically, it means that they're going full force in trying to get USB Type-C with Thunderbolt. I don't even know how to say this. Is it Thunderbolt with USB Type-C configurations or USB Type-C with Thunderbolt configuration?
No, I think it's Thunderbolt 3 with USB Type-C configurations. Yeah. Because the port itself, the USB
Type-C,
it was around before Thunderbolt 3 was fully classified. So
that's okay.
But also, I think we can just call it Thunderbolt 3 at this point. I don't think anyone is going to mess with the Thunderbolt protocol on any different connector.
No. See,
there's only one connector for it,
right? But that was the problem with USB, USB 3, USB 2.0, USB 2.1. It wasn't standard, right? You could buy a USB cable from some rinky-dink manufacturer, and it could literally blow up your phone because it didn't follow specs, right? So the fact that they're releasing this for free to everyone means no one has an excuse to make a rinky-dink cable that will blow up your phone.
Well, I think one of the things that will still be a little confusing, and I'm still not entirely sure what the relationship is going to look like, but say I start buying Thunderbolt peripherals and I use like the USB-C cable that came with my Pixel, then I'm probably going to be connecting over a USB
DC, that's it.
Interface, not a Thunderbolt interface. So I think there is still room. I mean, to your point, Sam, yes, the big step is not having gadgets explode. I think there will still be some confusion like, hey, I plugged my monitor in with this cable and it doesn't work. And you're like, oh, we still have to make sure that people have the right cables. And I think that's going to take a little transition once more products have Thunderbolt support. But this is a huge step in making sure that the industry is actually on the right.
But here's the interesting thing, and let me just cover some of the specs before I go to my point. So a couple of people have said that, I mentioned in some of my gaming laptop reviews that I would like to see some of those gaming laptops, you just have Thunderbolt 3 as its power source. And a lot of people are like, I don't think it can power it. I'm like, well, up to 100 watts of power, right?
Yeah.
That's enough. That's more than enough right there.
That should be for most systems out there. That should be
you've got more speed up to 40 gigabits per second. You can do 2 4K monitors. It also supports the protocols for PCIe Express, USB, Thunderbolt, and DisplayPort. Daisy chain up to 6 devices, single cable docking, full 4K video, external graphics cards, which we know quite well, as well as network copying and sharing. But here's the thing that's going to be interesting down the line is that what Intel has done is 2 things. Intel wants to ensure that Intel chipsets, because now you don't need Alpine in the future. It's going to be just if you get the next, not Kaby Lake or whatever it's called, the next Intel processor, right? that already gives you Thunderbolt protocol. So which means if I'm AMD, now that these protocols are free, Kaizen, which is their next chipset, they have to rush to add those protocols in there. But at least Intel secures that. But also what this means that in the next 5 years, it will no longer be a USB port anymore. It will just be a Thunderbolt 3 port, at least on PCs, because it would make no sense to just necessarily keep it one. I mean, just down the line because of the kind of bandwidth and the size and things like that. And again, one chip supports it. So Intel's trying to make itself a standard, which means you are going to be using Intel chipsets down the line. So it's a good move, and it makes more sense than even if they charge a cent for royalty fees. I think it just makes more sense to do this than that.
Yeah. Well, personally, to me, I'm more interested in the accessories, like Juan said, right? Like, case in point, right? My mom has a HP laptop that has a USB Type-C port on there. Or she has a USB 2.0 and 3.0 dongles. So it'd be nice to see more people make more accessories. And I think this kind of lends itself to doing that. I think this is probably the best move that any tech company has done when it comes to standardization over the last few years. And Intel should be applauded for it.
Yeah, totally agreed. And again, just I want this connector used on everything. I can't tell you how happy I was when I got the new Gear 360 and Samsung put a USB-C charger on it. Like that is exactly the direction we need to be heading with this type of consumer-facing solution. Like, it should not matter what you plug into your system, how you plug it into your system, what end of the cable you use.
Yeah.
Like that is a huge benefit, a huge step up. So
yeah, definitely. All right, moving on. DJI had a big announcement this week. They announced the Spark. Now the Spark is I guess you call it the smallest, lightest selfie drone, because it does have some motion activity to use. But I kind of like this announcement because DJI, one, for them, pricing wise, because we all know how expensive their drones can be as you move up the line. But this is pushing some of that pricing down, which means their competitors will do even lower, because it's priced at $499. It weighs about 300 grams. It's got a 12 megapixel camera with a 1 to 30-inch sensor, 81.9 degree field of view, f.2 2.6 aperture. It can shoot video at 1080p 30 frames per second. For me, that's a little bummer. I was hoping for 4K 30 at 24-bit rate. Hey, that's just me, okay? In terms of battery life, it's got a 1480 milliamp battery, will last 16 minutes of flight, which is only 5 to 10 minutes less than some of the bigger drones anyway.
Yeah, but don't you think since it's smaller, maybe because the battery size is significantly smaller, but yeah, you think it's a smaller device, so it should use less battery power, right? I was thinking it would probably improve since they made it smaller. Yeah, well, that's a discussion for another time.
I mean, yeah, maybe, but yeah, it looks like it's pretty cool. What do you guys think about the Spark?
It looks nice. I'm not a big personal drone person, so I really can't say much about it. But I still think $499 and $699, because it's going to start at $499, and then there's a bundle that says at $699, right? I still think that's pretty expensive for a lot of people who want to get into this drone game. It's significantly cheaper than the $1,200 drones that we're seeing as recently as a year ago. But I think once you get to that $399 sub $300 range, then people start really paying attention. It becomes something that people would take on vacation. People would use to take videos while hiking or whatnot. But I still think the price point is a little out there for a lot of people.
No, I definitely agree. But DJI always has a slightly higher price point. So I see them doing this so that they can get to either a holiday or something where they hit that 300, and the bundle is still a little higher. So I get that part. I mean, I do like it, the fact that it's my personal walk and talk drone. Just throw it up there. Give you guys just a little speech or something.
Right.
Talking about my neighborhood or where I am, and it's just following me, and it feels like I'm in the future, and people are like, "Wow." And sorry, I know I'm just like imagining stuff here. But anyway, Juan, what do you think?
It's kind of that maybe this is going to end up being the theme for this podcast is how can we continue to drive higher quality consumer experiences? And I think DJI is on an interesting track here in bringing lower price points, more accessible technology, calling it something that's consumer accessible. It's a selfie drone. It's really easy to understand what their idea for this product is, right? Like there's no techie, jargony deciphering. You don't have to speak a different techie language or geeky language to figure out what DJI is trying to accomplish here. I just wonder if people who are interested in something like this are going to understand some of the limitations of the platform before they spend money on it. You know what I mean? Like, can DJI, I have a hard time saying that. Can DJI educate the consumer base well enough for them to know what they're getting into, or that this is going to do what they want it to do, so it doesn't become one of those sort of luxury purchases that you use a couple times and then it sits in a closet until you kind of go on to the next fad. And that's really the only thing that I still I wonder about drones in general. This isn't a DJI problem. This is sort of a drone problem where people think these things are really cool. They want to play with them. They want to go check them out at the mall, quadcopters and camera drones and all these cool things. And what are they going to do with them? You know, like, I have these awesome 4K 360-degree cameras, and I have to find things to do with them. Like, I don't live a high adventure lifestyle where I'm constantly like on the go doing crazy exciting things that you want to see in 360 degrees. So you give someone this drone, and then it will fly for around 10 minutes. The battery's going to last for around 10 minutes, and people who use remote control cars and people who use remote control airplanes understand that battery limitation. But will someone who wants to do cool walk and talk selfie videos for their friends and family, will they get all of the limitations of this platform? And that's still one of the things that I think all drone companies kind of need to sort out, not just DJI.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think also DJI has to spend some time in educating people on what these drones can do, and not just I know the first type of videos we're going to see are like the action lifestyle sports guys on skateboards, and the drones are just following them and recording, and that's great, but you also want to showcase some other kind of activities, whether it's just families camping or like things that are a little bit more basic and more grounded, but still give you a better advantage point of holding a drone, even if it's your kid's soccer game. Getting a different viewpoint, and if the drone has a little badgy thing and it's over the field and it's tracking your kid the whole time while she or he is playing soccer or something like that, that would be cool, because then you can splice it in other videos that you're recording.
Well, and that also brings up, every time we get a cool new consumer tech, that also brings up, I mean, the second you said that, I hadn't even considered that, but there's a new social etiquette that's going to have to form around consumer selfie drones. I don't want parents flying powerful gadget devices over my kid's soccer field. And I kind of think like there's a reasonable.
This guy just gave me a bummer. I was like, oh man, Juan, really? No, like, I know, I get it. I do.
That's going to be the battle between two ideas. Someone's going to think, hey, this is super cool. I really want to document this, catch like a unique perspective of something I've never been able to see before, like my kid on the soccer field. And then other people are going to say like, well, one, I don't want you taking video of my kid while you're taking video of your kid to put up on the internet. And two, I don't trust that you're a good enough pilot. Like, I don't want this slamming into a kid.
That is true.
On the soccer field. So this is like a broad sort of etiquette and philosophical idea, because when we get this new tech, it's super cool and I want it in consumers' hands. But then we also have to discuss the ramifications of actually using this around other people, using this out in public spaces, not to mention personal safety issues. Like, if I were traveling, I maybe wouldn't want to travel with something like this, as it's a giant sort of neon sign in some areas to come and mug me, right?
Yeah,
like, again, it's the broad discussion of this stuff and where we can use it and where we should use it. Because you were so concerned with whether or not you could, you didn't stop to think if you should. That becomes, again, this is not a DJI problem. This is an industry problem. This is a consumer etiquette problem. But the better
we've already started running
the
into
more
that.
we need to talk about them.
Yeah, but we've already started running into that with all the the incident a couple of years ago at the tennis match, the U.S. Open.
Mm-hmm.
Ran into that. We've seen it happen at baseball games. We've seen it
Totally.
generate almost a sense of fear when one of these things crash and no one really understands who's piloting it, why are they piloting it, does it have a package on it? No one understands that. We've seen all that. So we all, definitely, you're making a very valid point that there's a can and then there's the should, right? You can do something doesn't always mean you should do it. But I think at the end of the day, it becomes a situation where we look at, these organizations like, a stadium or your kid's coach saying, okay, the school has a drone and we have someone who's piloting this drone for games. And if you want that video, then go to the school site.
Exactly what I was going to go to. Definitely.
Organizations have to start making sure that they ring fence exactly what the etiquette is in their particular for that particular event, because if they don't do that, everyone else is going to dictate it, and that's going to be anarchy.
I do agree. I just want to have my own footage, my own special shots. I know, I'm just joking. I'm joking, guys. I'm joking.
No, see, but that's also part of the conversation too. Is I trust that you would use some discretion in where you wanted to shoot your private thoughts. But think about all the people that, like, I'm crammed in on a subway and a lady next to me is pissed off that I'm glancing over and looking at her video call. Right? Like, I'm the jerk for invading her privacy while she's blabbing loudly in a public space on a video call.
Yeah, that is true.
It goes poorly. I don't think you would ever make that same decision because I think you have, one, self-respect, but also, a notion of, like, one, I want to have the best quality experience in using a technology like this, and a lower second point to that is I don't want to disrupt anyone else's experience. And that I think needs to become a part of the conversation is, how do we teach discretion? How do we teach that kind of technology etiquette? And I think the tech is going to far outpace, the improvements to the tech are going to far outpace our ability to have this sort of etiquette conversation.
Yeah. Hey, Warren, thanks for joining. No audio. No audio. Okay, when you can join us, we're going to move over to LeEco. LeEco is facing some massive layoffs in the U.S. office. It looks like they might be laying off close to 85% of their staff. And that massive expansion that they did is not paying off quite well.
It's not paying off at all.
Yeah. And I hope it doesn't force the company out of business, but they have to find ways to trim things off. But anonymous sources confirmed to CNBC that the Chinese company will lay off 85% of its U.S. workforce at town hall meetings scheduled at its office across the country. Two people told CNBC the company is planning massive layoffs in the U.S., with one source saying that only 60 employees will be left after the cut. The company current headcount in the U.S. is over 500, according to this person. CNBC obtained an email calling employees together for a town hall meeting that will occur in 3 of the company's U.S. locations, including San Diego, Santa Monica, and San Jose, at 10 a.m. Pacific time. The email asked employees to attend unless they were off for the day, in which case they were asked to call.
Never come back into work. Oh, okay.
Wow. So
like your stuff's in a box and we changed the locks.
You're off today? You know what? Great idea. Just don't come back in.
It's like you line up all your employees and everyone who's going to show up to work on Monday, take one step forward. Not so fast, 80% of you.
Oh, God. Actually, my boss, when I was in the Fine Arts Center, fired someone like that. That was epic. That was epic. Because we had an event. We had an event and we were all going to go to the event. And he goes, I think the guy's name was, I can't remember. Let's say David, right? He
Not
goes,
so fast, David.
Yeah, it's like everyone who's going to the event walk forward. Like, no, David, not so fast. David knew he was getting laid off anyway because whatever. But it was really, really awesome.
It's like really awesome. Wow. So it will be about 325 employees, which is pretty big, and it goes to show how expanding and getting to new markets can be a difficult thing. And also when you overreach sometimes.
Also when you're not focused.
Yes. Overreach without focus is an issue because we've tried out a few LeEco products and they seemed very promising, but it looks like the company was stretching out just too far.
Like I think they went for cool. I think they were trying to make headlines. Yeah, I mean, they were trying to buy their way into being a lifestyle brand, right? Yeah. Not just a phone, not just TVs. Those are sort of disposable consumer goods at this point for your premium markets. They were trying to create a LeEco lifestyle with your Le Mall and your Le Video store.
Le Bicyclette.
And I don't think you can buy that. I don't think you can buy into that. I mean, Apple has been so successful because they have won and lost fights over generations of people to eventually land at being the lifestyle brand that they are today. That took a long time for them to reach this point. So I think their strategy is actually pretty sound, though. So it sounds like what they're going to be doing in North America is regrouping, scaling way back, and focusing on delivering media, like really trying to build out their media streaming partnerships with Chinese American households. And I think that actually should have been their strategy from the beginning. You start out with a core user base, you finally target that demographic, you turn them into evangelists, you get them spreading this content, especially as China is becoming a bigger media player just in entertainment in general. When A-list American celebrities are trying to break into the Chinese market because that's the future of cinema, they're at the right side of this strategy right now of building up a core user base in North America. And from there, then you can expand on your portfolio, on other products, and you can leverage your relationships that you bought with companies like Vizio. I hope they hold on to Vizio if this is their strategy.
The Vizio deal
it fell through.
It completely fell through. Okay, yeah. Well, that sucks.
But and I think that's part of the reason that they went that they're making this scale back, because if they've gotten Vizio, that is a solid step into the United States. Yeah, because for the longest time, Vizio was
them at number 2. Although I mean, they become number 2 TV manufacturer like that.
Yeah.
But we are seeing LeEco TVs starting to show up in more North American consumer accessible places to buy. But regardless, this I think is a much more sound strategy. It's not as sexy, it's not as flashy, it's not as cool. But time and time again, how many times have we talked about cool can get you a user base, but cool doesn't pay the bills?
Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
So even from an app to a major company, you're in the same boat. How do you recoup this investment? You can't do it on cool internet points. You need the money.
Yes, very true. And speaking of cool, here's a new look at Android TV. The update that will be coming pretty soon. Now, those who've seen my reviews of the LeEco TV that has Android TV, I do not like Android TV. I think is just a hot mess entirely. But here's what it looks like. Anyone who's used Android TV, do you guys think it looks better? I mean, it's just one screenshot they have up there. Or do you think that Google should just stop the pain? And
no, I think they should continue to try and refine. I guess I'm just not super impressed by that overly flat look. So
well, that's the way everything's going now, right? Everything is getting. I think Lauren, we can hear you now.
Oh, I think he just muted himself.
Okay. Go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, I personally think Google should continue playing around with this because they're doing they have a very interesting integration process with home, your phone, actually even YouTube on your PC if you're using Chrome can also connect to all of that. So if they're building an OS that works very well with a TV, that really brings their home automation game to another level. They should keep working on it, and hopefully it turns out to be something that's viable at the end of the day. Because right now, I don't like what Samsung is doing with its OS. I really don't like the style of LG's OS. And those are the two.
What do you mean? Oh no, Samsung's OS is better than this crap. I'm sorry.
No, I'm not saying it's not better. I still don't like it.
It can be better, and I can still not like it.
No, okay, what don't you know? You know what? Let's stop for a second. What don't you like? Because I can navigate and access everything with pure ease. On Android TV,
I don't know that your definition of pure ease and my definition of pure ease line up there.
Yeah, so this is the problem. This is the problem I have with all these other applications, right?
I can't see you, Sam. I can't see you. This fight is not happening. I need to see your face. We need to do this.
My face and the YouTube videos shows my face. So I don't know.
What? We're having a problem with Google Hangouts during a live.
That has never happened. That has never happened. No, I'm saying the problem for me with this is if you go on your phone, then you go on your TV, then you go on your Xbox, you have 3 different experiences with, oh my God, you guys are all frozen. I don't know. Can you guys hear me still?
Okay.
Oh, no, they can't hear me.
Can you guys hear me?
The feed kind of blanked out. I don't know what's going on anymore.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you, but I don't know what's going on.
What's going on? God damn it. You can hear me? Yeah. Fuck Hangouts, by the way.
Ooh,
just want to put that out there. I hope they hear that. Piece of junk crap software. Now we can't hear anybody else. This is a whole bunch of...
I can hear you, Warren, but I can't hear either Juan or E2.
Yeah, I can't hear either one of them. This is a whole bunch of fuck all that this is. A whole bunch of fuck all.
Language.
We're trying to enjoy a show here, trying to make some for the people out here, and YouTube is competing against us to make a good show.
Yeah, it's like you have to fight the obstacles, right?
I have to fight your software to actually do a good job. This might as well just kick us in the nuts for all this.
You can't hear anyone. That's odd. Okay, stay on. I'm going to log off and try to log back on and see if that helps me.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what happens here.
All right, I am back on. Can you see, hear, or even smell me? I can't hear you. All right, so we're still trying to work on this. E is going to jump out and is going to jump back in, as well as Juan and Warren. So we'll see if logging out and logging back in gets this, gets this Hangout issue resolved. So I'm back on. I don't know if you guys can see me. I'm going to jump over to the YouTube channel and see if you guys can see me. Yeah. All right, so you guys can see me. All right, E2, you're back on. So
can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can see you, and the YouTube channel can see you as well. So that's fine.
Okay. It says Juan is not allowed in, and Warren is not allowed in.
You see, Warren, that's what you get for swearing at YouTube, man. You got to be nice to them. You got to coax them. You got to, you got to be nice.
Okay, all right. So let's finish our Samsung TV.
Oh well, no, it's not even Samsung TV. See, the problem really is you look at Samsung TV, you look at the Xbox, you look at your phone, you look at your PC, and you use a simple app like Netflix, and you have 3 different experiences or 4 different experiences all over those devices, right? So if one person like a Google Play TV or Google TV can come out, or Android TV, I'm sorry, can come out and say you get, at least for your phone, for your PC, and for your TV, we have, we can deliver you the same experiences all across the board. I'm fine with that. I would rather go for that because right now everyone's doing their own thing, and there's none of them that I'm really happy with.
Yeah, my problem is not the experiences. My problem is using the bloody interface. And if I can't use the interface well on my TV, I'm not going to even enjoy the experience in the first place. Yeah. That's my problem. Like just to find HDMI 1 on Android TV is a problem. Mm-hmm. So for me, that's where my problem lies with Android TV, because especially reviewing the LeEco, I was trying to switch input sources, and I'm like, this is annoying. This becomes an annoying experience. And yeah, you are not allowed to join this call. That is what Juan just sent me an image. Okay, I guess we just have to finish the show.
Yeah. How many stories do we have left? We have one more story left, or is it two more? Just one more story left.
Yeah. It says it's not allowed to join in. Okay, so we've got Microsoft is just announced the Xbox Game Pass, which they announced early in the year, which in February, which is about $9.99 a month, and you're more than 100 games. It's kind of like, PlayStation has the streaming service. With Xbox Game Pass, you're allowed to download the games. You still don't own it, but you're allowed to download the games, which in a way I kind of like. So you don't get into those issues with, internet connectivity and things like that. But also you can buy the games at a discounted price if you want it. Oh, here it is.
Hey, there we are.
I had to sign into a different account, so.
Wow.
So apparently the Optimus Prime logo account is now not allowed to jump into Hangouts anymore. Google was saying you are not allowed to join a Hangouts call, so I don't know what's going on there. So now the Some Gadget Guy account with my face on it is the one that works. So I have no idea what's going on.
Okay, all right. But anyway, we all know the problems with Hangouts, so there's no need to even lament anymore before they just strike us with lightning outside.
You can always lament more, my friend.
But Sam, what do you think about Xbox Game Pass?
I think it's a good idea, actually. I personally, I'm confused with this, right? Do I need to have Xbox Gold in order to have this to work? Or can I get this and that automatically covers my Xbox Gold? So that's something that's confusing me. I think it's a great idea, but I think that having two different subscription services, if one doesn't encompass everything, turns into a little bit of a headache. Because I don't want to pay $9.99 a month and then an additional amount for my Xbox Gold. That's going to piss me off.
Yeah, so if I were them, I would have done, if you have Xbox Silver or you don't have anything, then you do $9.99 a month. And if you have Gold, you up the price of Gold a little bit more from, it's monthly $9.99 to say 11 or 12, just to cover this. And that would be a much simpler idea. But we all know how Microsoft does things in terms of, considering I was just there this week. But
Warren Bowman has joined.
Welcome back, Warren.
I had to switch a whole nother account to get into this.
I think we wanted
this damn program. Screw Hangouts.
Warren, haven't you learned your lesson? You do not swear at Hangouts. Hangouts bans you if you swear at it.
Fuck Hangouts, and I'll say it to its face. I don't give a damn.
Hangouts.
Wow.
I like my account. I don't want my account banned from Hangouts. I love you.
Switch accounts to do this nonsense because we put the ban hammer down.
Sitting on the tree. You Google me and you were like this, man. We're like this.
They could take that They could take that ban hammer, turn that some bitch sideways, and stick it straight up their candy ass. Is what they can do with it.
Oh man, he just went Stone Cold Steve Austin on this thing.
No, that's The Rock. That's The Rock.
Oh yeah.
That's The Rock.
When the some bitch kind of threw me off.
Yeah.
All right.
That was sort of dirty south there. It was.
Yeah. And any more thoughts on Xbox Game Pass? Anyone?
Sam actually nailed exactly the point that I brought up. Is I'd like to just see at some point. It's the same thing like YouTube Red and YouTube TV and YouTube Music and Google Music and Google Play and all these different things. At some point, I'd like to get to a tier where I can say, I want Xbox. Can you just give me everything Xbox or like Google? Can I just have like Google Platinum and I'll pay like $40 a month and you just give me all of these separate,
all of the Googles,
little services that don't really talk to each other.
I want all of the Googles,
and I can just have them all. And so that to me is the only takeaway. Like I think the Game Pass is a great idea. I would like an Xbox Live Platinum that puts it all together so that I don't have to have separate different subscriptions that sort of
I want all the Microsoft.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say that too, because Microsoft is going to get into that problem seriously as they keep working to make things more, synergized or whatever.
I mean, granular is fine for when you don't want one specific feature, and you can have those options too. That's awesome. But it's the same problem like Amazon. Amazon Prime has the same issue where they're building the service and they're adding more things to it. And now there are different tiers, and I just don't care. I'm just not going to do my homework. So if I try to use a service on Amazon and they say, oh, well, you need Amazon Prime Mercury edition. And you're like, well, I don't care. I'm just
Amazon Prime though is actually better than everybody else.
Oh, except for the music.
No, but you have music with Amazon Prime anyway.
No, you don't.
That's
Amazon Music is a different. It's a different, different service. You have music in the way that you have Amazon Music, where you can store your vinyl, where you can upload your stuff and the MP3s you buy. But Amazon Prime Music is a whole nother service that you have to pay extra for.
So Amazon, you're absolutely right that Amazon isn't as bad, but as they grow, we're seeing more fracturing and separate service subscriptions as opposed to. I would rather they just raise the price of Amazon Prime and then I get everything. And I don't have to think, what do I have? What can I do? And they keep sending me these emails like, hey, you might be missing out on some features of your Amazon Prime subscription. And like, at this point, I don't care. I have Amazon Prime for what I initially got Amazon Prime for. And if you guys add things to it, that's awesome. But when I try to do something that I want to do, and then you tell me that I have to have a different subscription, it turns me off to everything. It just shuts me down.
Yeah, true. The last video, actually, before we get to the last video, I wanted to show you guys this because this popped up on GSM Arena. So I'm going to share my screen before it, hopefully it works. Okay.
Working out bumps us out again.
So this is an LG V30 concept render showing a slider with two displays.
Fuck. I thought we were over this. I thought we were done with this.
So it looks like an old school Nokia device. Hey, wait, Warren. Wait.
Warren has been triggered today.
And you see the slide out here.
Oh, good God.
No! I can't stop laughing at Warren's reaction.
That's absolutely not what we want.
No!
And then we got like this one right here at the bottom. I'm just look at that. Just gonna click on it.
We have officially have fuck all in a physical manifestation, and it is this shit. What is this? Who told him this was a good idea?
It's a render. It is not.
You've been in this game long enough to know what renders mean.
Wait. But you see the camera?
Shit real.
See the
camera? So hard, I'm crying.
It's got 4 camera sensors, man. Look at that. That's dope,
I know. I got pepper in my eye again. Thank you, Warren.
Hilarious.
Hey, you know what? Hangouts fucking triggered me today. It's just been downhill since then.
I like how you just go, no. Like, I am not accepting this in my reality.
You went novella there. Nunca.
No. So I guess Warren speaks for everybody here with a big no.
Look at the damn thing outside of the cameras. Like what? What is that?
So I mean, like alongside Warren's protest here.
I'm sweating excessively now.
Yeah.
Don't let Kevin know that.
Yeah.
But the big problem I would have if this is a V series phone is one of the things I like the most about V series phones is durability. And I don't think you could make a mil-spec, drop resistant, water resistant device very effectively with some kind of slider mechanism. Especially, I just had to do a look back at the BlackBerry Priv, comparing it against the Key 1. And the Key 1 just feels like such a much better pieced together phone. And a part of that is the fact that the Priv has that slider to get the screen up over the keyboard. And I mean, it's one of the best sliders I've ever used, don't get me wrong, but I like that the Key 1 feels like one cohesive, complete, finished, rugged product.
Plus, you can't put a case in that bad boy.
And cases become very problematic. So if they want to make an experimental line, like they were messing around with the Flex, if they want to make an LG slider, that's awesome. Go, Mazel Tov. I'm never going to use that as my daily driver. But I don't want that to be a V. I want the V to stand for uncompromising multimedia and content creation performance. And I don't think you get that if a major focus of the phone is building in overly complicated hardware slider mechanisms.
Yeah. No, the V to me has always been more of the Note version for Samsung, right? Where you throw everything that you want to put in your next generation top of the line regular phone, you throw it in there, right? And the V10, the V20, they've been solid phones. This looks like they're trying to experiment with doing something really different for the V30, right? And I think it's an expansion on what they did with that ticker display, right? But it's not. This doesn't work. This doesn't work. If you're gonna do a slider. Yeah. Go ahead.
We're gonna make a second keyboard slide out, but it's a display, just like the display above the display.
Exactly.
Yo, dog, I heard you like displays. Display within your display, and then your display can display this to display your display.
Display inception.
I actually hope Exhibit's at an event for this. I actually do, just for him to announce this. Because it only would make sense if he does. I don't get it. I don't get, like, this is trying to be cool and futuristic, but not being practical. Yeah. That's exactly what this is. This is like, oh crap, Samsung crapped on all of us again. We got to come out with something. What do you got in the bargain bin? This. This is what produces out of it. Like, I can see this could be one of their K series phones that they BS with for a little while, just to see what it does and to see if the market reacts to it. If then it reacts well to it, they make a bigger version of it. If not, well, it just stays into that little small line. It just be a little cool little device that has a little cool extra kick to it that just sell on Boost Mobile, Metro PCS, and one of those lines, and it makes those folks that are in the postpaid world feel like they got a little bit more.
I think it's a difficult call for a manufacturer to try and experiment with a feature that definitely raises the price of manufacturing, and not have an audience for that feature. I think we saw the same problem with the G5. Was modularity was a cool idea, but it causes a lot of extra engineering to happen on your phone. And who was the audience for that feature? I don't think they had all of those pieces in place. And it ultimately arrived at a device that wasn't as well put together as if it had just been a follow-up to the G4, right? I think the G4 is actually a better put together phone, fruity boot loops aside, than the G5 was. And so that's my big fear. To Sam's point, if the V series phones, if the LG's idea is this is a place where we can experiment, then I think this is disaster for the V series. We need an LG that is going to take their flagship phones and focus, not run off with experiments. If you do a separate line of phones, like the Flex was a perfect place to experiment with phone design. And we got two really great ideas of what you could do with the smartphone. The second one, unfortunately, just fell prey to Qualcomm more than it fell prey to LG. If they do this with the V, then all of the momentum that they've started building with the V10 and the V20 is going to go right out the window. I think if we went from the G2 to the G3 to the G4, LG was becoming a solid player before the boot loop issues happened. And then we went to the G5 and it was a huge bucket of ice water on all of their progress and momentum. And now they're rebuilding with the G6. Again, we're going to go through that cycle again where V10, V20, slider phone, huge bucket of cold water.
I don't understand why you'd want shortcuts on the bottom of your phone to slide out. But then when you open up an app or you're in an app, aren't you going to need a keyboard? Like I actually don't know how this is physically. I don't know how this is logically possible.
One of their renders is that section is adaptable to the app. So if the app needs a keyboard's going to pop up. If the app needs some other kind of control interface, then the developer can actually write. So, I mean, like say you had recording hardware, you could put that full of little sliders and knobs and dials and control recording like some other kind of interface. But I don't think it's necessary. It's kind of a cool idea because then when your keyboard is in that bottom section, then the full rest of your screen is used for the app. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that's kind of cool about a BlackBerry.
I
But
expect this from
I don't think we need it, and I don't think consumers are going to gravitate towards that.
I expect this shit from Xiaomi. I expect something like this from Xiaomi.
But hasn't
Xiaomi has
LG's
the sense not to do it.
hasn't LG's kind of claim to fame has been they've been willing to try a lot of things that are outside the box, right? Even when they fail, they've been willing to try. And I think we shouldn't just dump on them for trying.
How many L's can you take, Sam? How many L's? L's are not like baseball.
The G6 is actually decent.
You don't want to build that many K.
But they're not taking an L for their recent phone.
No. But Sam, why is the G6 such a surprisingly good phone this year?
Because it goes back to basics with phones, right?
They went down and focused exactly on making a really good product around a certain idea of what a flagship phone should be, and the only experimentation was on changing the aspect ratio. Otherwise, it's just refining and buttoning down, getting away from all the problems they had with the G5. And the V20 was a great platform for a similar idea, but focusing in on a specific consumer demographic, content creation, multimedia prowess, and some getting to done. It's not as well put together for like Note fans. Like if you really dug into all of the S Pen stuff for productivity, then the V20 wasn't really a good option for you.
Oh yeah.
But if you wanted the absolute best headphone performance and camera performance and video capture and really creating content from a phone, you couldn't beat the V20.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That's why I equate both of them, right? The Note line has always been for business professionals, in my opinion, but I would say the V line has always been for creators, people who actually create content. That was where they were going with it. And I think this kind of, I don't know, does this follow that same path or it doesn't fit in it?
They just threw 4 cameras into it. I'm like, okay, that's great for creators, but you did nothing to enhance the creation for the creators. You did none of that. Because let's be really honest here. Outside of Juan and people that were paid, who creates content with the V series of phones?
Yeah, no, the V10, I did.
Look at the mock-ups.
We don't count. We do not count.
That they have,
right? Well, you said outside of Juan, you added Juan in there. How come I don't count?
No, if you look at the mock-ups they have, right? This is what really worries me about the mock-up they have, right? Not maybe one mock-up there looks like something with audio. Apart from that, everything is all either constant consumption or entertainment.
Yeah, and that's what the G series is perfect for.
Yeah, so this does not align with what a V series, even from their mock-up, this does not align with what a V series is to me,
Like I got excited. We got 4 cameras in here. All right, look, we about to get real with this, video creation with these mics and everything. Like you guys beat everyone when it comes to, especially in the video portion. You beat everyone in that. You even really beat Samsung just based on the fact you have more controllers, a higher quality audio and options. But then you add some goofy gimmick to it, and I'm like, if y'all think this is gonna beat the Note 8, which we can already dub the Jesus phone because it probably will be, like it's probably gonna be the beast of all beasts, and I wouldn't be surprised if they push some content creation tools and they start to improve their pro version within what you can do in terms of video controls and stuff like that as well. Where does LG sit in this thing? I don't understand what this is like. If they got rid of the keyboard, this phone, it looks fine. But adding this little slide out thing just
I agree. I think it's a huge misstep. If they wanted to experiment with anything, I would have hoped that they would have started pushing into Project Tango. Mm-hmm. You're gonna have multiple cameras on the back of a phone, and you're gonna dedicate space to different sensors.
Oh, this probably will do that.
Well, I'm hoping, but again, with a camera module so closely packed, I'm not sure that AR really works unless you've got at least some space between those sensors. I could totally be wrong, but I'll be curious to see what it is that they can bring to the table there that really pushes the envelope. And I think AR is an exciting opportunity to experiment. Over-engineering the phone to slide the screen, I think, costs more than you want it to and solves problems that most people don't really have with their phone.
Okay, well, guys, it is a rumor. I'm gonna put it in a rumor category because it's not real.
I guess what we're saying is don't do this, LG. Don't do it.
Just don't do it. And finally, just going to our last topic, Windows Central posted this video of some, I guess it was a marketing video of what Microsoft wanted to do with the Lumia 950. We all know how Microsoft starts something and then just kind of, leaves it by the wayside.
Low energy, no stamina.
And it was interesting. I mean, the video was interesting. I wish they even threw this as an ad for this one, because I don't think I ever saw an ad for the 950. I could be wrong.
I think I saw a couple carrier ads, but again, like one-off commercials that didn't last very long.
No, exactly. I don't know if you guys took a look at it, but it seems like they had some basis where they wanted to start with this, but there was the execution, as we've always talked about, and also the future thinking was killed off at some point on this device. So just throwing that out there. I know we didn't have a uselessness of the week, but
Hangouts.
Well, Hangouts takes
the
that one
perpetual, like permanent uselessness of every week.
I'm throwing this one. I don't call it's not uselessness. It's more of a slap in the face. So Alamo Drafthouse put up a Wonder Woman screening, all women screening, and for me personally, it's fine. I really don't care. And people, so guys started complaining about it. And they went on Twitter and they said, "We've heard the complaints, have taken swift, decisive action, and added another all-women screening for Wonder Woman sales going on."
Thank you.
Right now.
Thank you. That's the perfect response. That is the perfect response. Because I thought you were about to say they capitulated.
No. And then they continued. They go on Twitter, they go, "Shout out to all the legal experts in our Twitter feed," and they just close. It has Judge Judy closing her computer. Actually, I should take my screen. There's one more. There's still one more here that they have. Application.
This is probably one of the biggest.
And then this last one. It says, "To all those saying they're upset about Wonder Woman screening because they wanted to donate to Planned Parenthood, put your money where your mouth is. Here's a link."
Thank you.
I mean, like, again, anyone who's upset about this has never experienced the Draft House.
Yeah.
Like, I've only been to Austin a couple times. I fucking love going to movies at the Alamo Draft House. I mean, like, I make a special trip to go and see a film whenever I'm nearby. Their attitude, their staff. I love watching people get pulled out of films because they have their cell phones on. And like, there's always that one person that has like a little temper tantrum. You're like, I don't care. That was against the rules. And we actually enforce that policy here at the Alamo Draft House. So for anyone who is complaining about this, and especially anyone who's getting upset at their responses, is like, you've never been to one. You don't know what they're all about. And that means you're irrelevant to the conversation. Like, you weren't a customer of theirs anyway. So why would they care?
Understand what they're doing. The whole thing that they're doing is they're saying we're having a women's only night for probably one of the biggest female characters to ever be created in comic history.
Who was long overdue a film, by the way.
And then we're taking the proceeds from that night and donating it to charity. Okay, so in essence, it's a women's night at a club where all the proceeds go to charity.
No. It's like a gala. It's like
it's like a gala,
like a women's fundraising night or something like that. And for those guys who are really feeling that strongly about it, there is nothing stopping anyone from renting.
No, there's nothing. Or going and identify yourself as a woman, they'll let you in.
Well, I mean, like, I don't want to, because that would be someone trying to cause problems.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, if there are issues that you feel so strongly about that you feel a movie benefit night would better your cause, there's nothing stopping. Like, for my friend's 35th birthday, he rented out a movie theater and we all saw a film together. Like, there's nothing stopping you from doing the same. This is all about commerce. And by throwing temper tantrums, you're actually lending more validity to this idea of having like a women's only screening or some other type of thing, because you just amplified the product. You gave them tons of free advertising. If your idea was, I'm going to tweet at the Alamo Draft House and tell them that I'm angry, all you've done is advertise for the Alamo Draft House. Like,
yeah, I'm just going to leave this meme right here for a while. Sorry. I just found it funny. That's all. But you guys are definitely right. I mean, to me, it was just stupid in general. I'm like,
Well, and I love that as the uselessness because you're not going to be able to out troll the Alamo Draft House.
Yeah. Whoever's handling the social team was like, "Oh, I got this."
Yeah.
but, I think this is part of, and this is something that people that I think has been a theme this whole week, at least for me, right? With when you talk about Mark Zuckerberg giving a speech at commencement, and you talk about people shifting from world leaders or other people into CEOs as commencement speaker. I think what Alamo Draft House did is something that even a lot of CEOs find difficult to do. You know who you are. You know what your organization stands for. Do not be afraid to basically go out there into the world and tell people, this is our organization. This is what we stand for. And yes, there are going to be a lot of naysayers, but we stand by our message. And that's what they've done. And I think all companies out there can learn from this. I think people need to start realizing that these organizations are private organizations. They want to do good. And this is the way they've chosen to do good. If you do not agree, take your dollars elsewhere. Okay? Don't ask them to change who they are. Take your dollars elsewhere. Like, there are institutions I don't agree with. They have the rights as private institutions to not have women play golf at their institutions for however long they want. But guess what? There are people who say, you know what? I'm going to take my dollar to somewhere else that's more inclusive. And that's exactly what people should realize. You can always take your money and go somewhere else that's more inclusive and also basically, shares your idea. End of story.
Yeah, and Alamo Draft House perfectly tapped into that notion because, again, anyone who was complaining was probably not a customer of theirs. So what would they care about upsetting them?
Yeah.
That's
and
very
it's
true.
one show that they were going to do. One show. One. God, people got so triggered about this thing, man. It was crazy.
Although, like Lou Rod also brings up that if we're going to have another uselessness, I don't know that we really want to make this the uselessness of a tech podcast, but the that GOP candidate slamming a reporter and stealing his election is probably up there too.
Yeah, that is.
This has not been a good week for discourse. This has not been a good year for.
Oh, you think?
For discourse.
I just don't get why they got. I understand why they might have been triggered because it's probably just one thing of a million things that some of these guys feel that maybe that is a slight to them, and because you never know, some of these guys and they might have suffered some ill will or suffered something that they felt was unjust, maybe due to some level of feminism that might have not have gone their way. I don't know fully their story, so that might trigger them when they see little things like this, and this makes them sort of want to screech out. But this isn't really the thing to necessarily.
This was not the fight.
Not the fight to really target on. I mean, I understand why they did. It's because it's Wonder Woman, so they looked at something that was going to get a lot of media and press, so it allows their their name or their cause or what they want to get out there be heard by more people, so that more people, more of the media like ourselves are talking about it. But it's not necessarily the wisest decision. I mean, it's the same token. Feminist groups do the same exact thing. They'll target one thing that they feel is a certain way, and it clearly isn't in that direction. We've seen that plenty of times, but clearly it's not meant this way. But they have to, but they've taken it over, and now it's become, their thing's been pushed forward. So
people do abuse.
I think that does get abused quite a bit from both ends of the spectrum. But at the same time.
But it's also our propensity for listening to the most obnoxious members of any cause.
I mean, it's a very simple thing we say. I'm sure it's said here, but I know I've grown up as a kid. Common sense is just not common. Yep. It's just very simple, because you look at this and you go, oh, okay, I get it. But then you realize that I'm going to say this, there are very dumb people out there on this planet. This planet is filled with a bunch of stupid people. There are a lot of people who just don't think.
No, they don't think, and you never really know what their interaction is or what something has happened to them that makes them trigger this way. That's something you always got to kind of have in the back of your head. Why were they doing? Not saying that you got it's cause excuse the behavior, but at least you might understand the reasoning behind why they're acting or why.
Yeah, but like you said, again, it gives you no right to be stupid. I mean, there are things that happen to me, and sometimes you have to realize that
It doesn't make any sense. You will look like a fool. Cause and effect. Map it out. Just spend maybe a minute to map out what you will say, especially social media. Forget anything else. On social media, once you open your mouth,
I mean,
try and fire on someone.
The funny thing about this is like the reverse effect of the Ghostbusters film thing.
Yeah.
Where the feminists took pretty much what the men did in this role, and it completely flipped against them, and what happened with Ghostbusters. And now we're seeing that this kind of a similar same thing sort of happened. And
you know, the disappointing thing about Ghostbusters, because it's not a great movie, but it's really not as bad as the ire that was generated from.
Oh no! I'm sorry. That movie was crap. I'm going to put it out there. I
disagree. I think
no.
Well, what do you expect? A film that's based in New York, filming in Boston, down the street.
There was so many things.
I'm pretty sure I'm in the movie somewhere. Pretty sure of it.
This takes a little nuance because and sorry, I'm gonna have to unpack a couple thoughts really quickly, and I'm gonna try not to diatribe for too long here. But there were two things working against Ghostbusters. One, the name of the film is Ghostbusters, so we have an expectation, and that expectation is very high. Yeah. And two, I think the movie was poisoned by the marketing and the interaction that Sony had with Ghostbusters fans, because in watching the film, it's not a great movie, but it's not a terrible comedy.
Who was the director and the writer again?
Feig. And Feig did
He's
terrible
a fucking idiot. He was an idiot for what he said.
Absolutely.
That blog post that he put out, I said, you just ruined this movie. You just killed this movie.
But don't forget that Ghostbusters. Go ahead.
Sorry. Just to wrap it up, the only thing I can really fault Ghostbusters for, and this is, again, I lay this at Paul Feig's feet, is that the movie is actually mean-spirited. So when you've got a character like what's his name, Thor,
Hemsworth. The brother.
The original Ghostbusters, in an era of very misogynistic filmmaking, put their secretary character up as a great foil to the bumbling ineptitude of the Ghostbusters. Like, Janine is a powerful character, and she's a funny character, whereas Feig makes the male counterpart to that a complete bumbling buffoon. And there are a number of other examples that
But you got to remember, Feig says that men aren't funny, so according to his
but again, like, I would lay that aside from the fact that this movie is mean-spirited in that regard. The actual interactions of the female Ghostbusters are actually pretty good.
The cast, they play well.
Solid moments in that cast.
See, I had
this is done by the one individual, and then also Sony's marketing attempts. And I don't think the movie is as bad as the backlash that hit because of the political statement surrounding that film.
See, all the political statements aside, I thought that movie was very bad because I personally feel all those female characters are funnier. I didn't find them funny. I felt Melissa McCarthy was hamstrung from being funny in that movie. You know, so at that point I was like, I can't watch this. You know, I tried to, and then of course you had all the story elements that were just terrible. Yeah, you know, and it just kind of put everything down.
The fact that all the other people on there were scientists, except for the one member who wasn't a scientist and could get the car and talk like a certain way, that kind of irked me a little bit. But I also think
Leslie Jones was done. I mean, I think Leslie Jones's character was actually handled better in the film for being a history buff than she was in the trailer. But again, I'm walking into that film having seen Leslie Jones in the trailer portrayed as just the most obnoxious, one-dimensional, loud, angry black woman screaming about Jesus and possession and stuff. I'm already walking into the film with the worst possible idea for what her character should do. And you see Leslie Jones in a film like Top 5.
Yeah.
She's able to hang and banter, and I think she's awesome.
She's funny.
That kind of ensemble, right? When she's playing off other people and she's given as just as good as she gets. I think she's great. I think there were too few moments of that for her in Ghostbusters, but I liked that they at least tried in the film to do something with her character. It was just inelegant. And I don't think I would turn to Paul Feig to comment on the experience of an African-American woman's experience in New York. I think he's the wrong person to turn to for that.
There were so many things with that movie where I did
like the movie. I did like the movie.
I
think
hated
it was a great movie.
I hated it.
I hated the fact that I wanted to eat Chinese food and they kept flipping that damn. The house that they're in was a good Chinese food spot and I couldn't eat there for a damn month.
In Boston. No, I mean, it's interesting that you guys like. I completely hated that movie from
I'm
top
not
to
gonna
bottom.
say the problem is like my feelings on it are very colored by the entire surrounding experience of Ghostbusters, and I think that entire experience is toxic. So I can't say that I enjoyed Ghostbusters because it's wrapped up in so many other elements. Whereas when I was a little kid watching the original Ghostbusters, it was a movie that stood on its own as a classic of its era, and a near perfect example.
Well, technically, it wasn't a kids movie.
It was not a kids movie. Yeah.
Well,
and don't forget,
wasn't.
almost every single actor in the original Ghostbusters was already a pretty well-known name. Okay.
Well, I mean, and also to the same point, I mean, like you can't find a collection of female performers that are better sort of introduced to their audience in this time than that foursome. But one of the things I want to take that back, that Ghostbusters wasn't a kids film. Let's not forget that kids films from the 80s delved into stuff like that. Than kids stuff today.
That is very true.
You go and watch Cloak and Dagger. I love Cloak and Dagger. Cloak and Dagger took place in San Antonio while I was living in San Antonio. So they're having like shootouts on the Riverwalk where these Russian spies are trying to kill kids with secret plans for airplanes and stuff. And at one point, the kid gets kidnapped and thrown in the trunk of a car with his dead friend. I mean, we never used to put on kids' gloves for kids.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters is actually pretty tame in comparison to a film like Cloak
With
and
a lot of innuendo, man. Come on, I am the gatekeeper and the key master.
Well, I mean, but it was okay because a lot of that stuff would have gone over a kid's head.
Yeah.
Gates and keys, the sexual imagery.
Well,
there.
the thing was, it was originally written as a rated R movie, and it was changed as they were going along with it because somebody probably in marketing saw the opportunities and said, this might play off the kids and families a little bit better if we take some of the crudeness out of it without ruining the movie. So let's make some smart innuendos that parents will understand and kids might not understand initially. But it was a good way because you watch the second one. The second one is a far more kid-friendly film than the first one is.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, when it opens up with a kid's birthday party.
Yeah.
Far more friendly. Tell what they were trying to do there. But, that's why I think Ghostbusters continues to be such a perfect example of filmmaking because for someone my age to have watched it as a little kid, as I grew up, Ghostbusters grew up with me. And every time I would watch that film throughout my life, I would glean a new piece of a joke, a new comic situation, a new experience. And I mean, and to your point about Leslie Jones, Sam, I mean, much respect to Ernie Hudson. His role in that film does a perfect job of late in the movie grounding how ridiculous this concept is. That he's just ex-military looking for a job, and he becomes the perfect voice of the audience at a time where this movie is starting to get really goofy. And again, we didn't get that same kind of experience with the remake of Ghostbusters.
I really liked one of the things with Ghostbusters that maybe one of the things I loved everything about it to the point I dressed up as a Ghostbuster for like Halloween. I swear, like
I have my
7 or 8 times proton pack, everything, PKE meter, the whole 9 yards, man. And one of the things that I always remember is Ghostbusters made me want to go see New York. It made me want to go see it because the show, the New York, New York was a character in the film. It was like the city itself was a character, so it always made me want to go and visit, go and see things, and see that type of stuff. And I thought it was always cool when films take the personality of a city, and it becomes part of the film, and it makes you want to maybe go see and experience what's going on in a different place. I mean, unfortunately, you're not going to get able to do a new one with something basically written on a sound stage and it filmed in. Cannot make Boston look like New York, no matter how much you try to do so.
Yeah, but it kills the life of that.
Kills the vibe.
Can you imagine trying to like redo Law and Order? And
or Taxi.
Well,
or even Taxi. Yeah.
That's right. They had Law and Order LA, and it was terrible.
You know what? It wasn't that it was that bad because I liked it, but there was no point to it because it was the same thing as the New York show. That was the problem. Like, if you take those same stories and you take those same stories they did and put them in New York, they're great stories.
Yeah.
But it was the simple fact that it was somewhere in LA, and it was just like, okay. I really gave it a shot. I gave it a shot, and I was like, this isn't bad. It's just there's no point in this.
I would love. I mean, if we're gonna resurrect old properties, God, I would love to get back to just a standard procedural New York-based
NYPD Blue,
Law and Order. Those classic shows. And
one of the actors from there out there in LA one time. The what's his name? The Spanish guy from that show.
Benjamin Bratt.
No. Oh, actually, I'm thinking of a different show. Not NYPD Blue. The other one that came on Fox.
The one with Mikhail Pfeiffer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
The name of that one. To my tongue.
All those procedural cop shows were great.
It was NYPD Blue, and then this one was the competitor to it at that time. And I don't think Law and Order wasn't really out yet at this point.
Was it CSI? It wasn't CSI.
No. CSI's newer. No, but just to kind of wrap up and go back. This is one point that I know we missed. Richie A said, feminists also made a big stink about Wonder Woman not having armpit hair. You know when
it was.
No. So I mean, like this is what sucks about this conversation being so toxic right now is that feminists didn't really make a big stink out of Wonder Woman not having armpit hair. Feminist made a big stink out of not having armpit hair, and a few people agreed with her, and most people got on with their life.
That's the one thing we do have to say. That a lot of these things are made bigger than what they are. There's usually a few people complaining, and it's made out by the news and the blogs to be like this massive complaint. Yeah. But the reality is 3 people complained.
Totally, because I am a bleeding heart liberal, but SJWs do not speak for me on what I think is sound government policy. I have my own opinions, which often run counter to the craziest
New York undercover
non-haired members of the
That was the name of the show.
No. I mean, that's very true. I mean, to me, the main thing I want to see is this movie help spur more female superheroes. We know there's so many in the catalog that we would love to see. Yeah. And,
I mean, from what I'm seeing from the movie, from the previews and what it's like, is like somebody watched the first Captain America and decided to make a DC version of that. And if that's what they're doing, I'm totally on board with that because it's the best idea to do.
And totally smart making that around the Wonder Woman
mythos itself. Yeah, exactly. So I think it opens that road, because you think about it with how many years the Marvel DC, and even with Christopher Nolan's movies have been around, and the Spider-Mans, we've had very few female superheroes, poorly written ones in terms of like Catwoman, Elektra, and stuff like that. And then you hear people in Hollywood say, well, a female star can't push a movie, that kind of thing, where you're like, no.
We made Halle Berry Catwoman.
Like just write something correct.
I wonder why that didn't work.
It'll likely work.
And if you
didn't those Tomb Raider movies do well?
Yep.
Didn't what's the name in all those damn Underworld movies?
Worlds have had a difficult time after the second one. But
after the second one, the first two
were fucking making Resident Evil.
Yeah. No. It's done.
That was exactly the point I was gonna.
They're rebooting it. They're rebooting Resident Evil again.
Well, they haven't rebooted it yet. This is still the same series.
No. So the last one, the sixth one, is the end with
the end of the series, right?
Of the series, but
they will reboot it after that. But they went 6 movies.
Yeah.
6 amazingly terrible but fun to watch movies.
Another point to put out, they say that the female leads candidates, did they watch the Hunger Games?
How
much money did that play? Make? So that's BS.
I know. They were selected because when they say that, they go into superheroes, and then with that track record, you pull out Elektra, you put out Catwoman, and then you go, oh, these things don't work.
But there's also not that many there's not that many female superheroes that could take that type of lead anyways right now.
But
a lot of them are
right,
like.
but before that point, I don't.
Characters.
Before we started doing this Marvel Cinema universe, I don't think anyone would have thought that Iron Man could have
his own
movie. Oh yeah, he is such a broken character. I don't know why they started with him.
Because I thought his character could always work. He's a dude in a robot suit and rich. How the hell that can't work? They got Batman.
He is a freaking alcoholic who's antisocial.
Yeah, what was Batman in the Bane movie in the Christian Bale?
No. You missed the point. The difference is that number one, Iron Man was not recognizable at that time.
Yeah, at that time he wasn't as big.
I don't know about that.
No. I'm not talking about. No, we're not talking. Look, you're not talking about you, me, all of us here. The general public. Again, you go anywhere on the planet, right?
Ghostface Killer called himself Tony Stark. Tony Stark was a name that was put out there.
No. You go anywhere on the planet, you mention Bruce Wayne, somebody knows. Yeah. Even to this point in time, you go to the most remote place, you mention Tony Stark. No, you mention Superman, somebody knows.
The biggest problem with any B tier hero, which Iron Man was before this film, is every hero needs to be defined by their villains. And not only can you go to someone and say Bruce Wayne and they know who you're talking about, you can say, can you name me a villain that Batman fights?
Joker.
Can you name me a villain that Spider-Man fights?
Yep. Done.
Name me a villain that Iron Man fights.
The Mandarin,
but they fucked that up.
We can.
we can, but them say that's.
I think you're underestimating that a little too.
No. It is. No,
I am not. No, I don't think we are. There've been a lot of cartoons. From a cartoon point of view, there've been a lot of cartoons with Iron Man, but it never really picked up. Iron Man, look at the amount of reboots they had to do with Iron Man. And it's clear that there was something that was not.
No, wait, what are you talking about? They only did one Iron Man cartoon.
They did one Iron Man cartoon. Look at the comics. Look at how many Iron Man comics are there. They kept on rebooting and
that's not a fair argument considering.
No, it is. I know. I think it is.
Comics every 6 months now.
Well,
Iron Man.
I agree with Warren on that.
Going through like its 5th universe change.
No, I agree.
DC universe changes every 5 years.
Universe changes is different from comic reboot for a character, man.
Yeah, that is different.
Many times.
Hold on. On that point, because the core of Iron Man has always been the same. So that's like saying, like, every time Batman gets refreshed for...
Nah, they changed him to where his body was made out of brain cells. They changed it to where he was a pseudo kind of mutant person. They've changed him so many times.
The core storytelling of Iron Man has always been that he was an arms manufacturer who got hurt and then had to use his brilliance to survive. And then
sorry, brain cells.
Yeah, I know, that was just stupid.
Brain cells. I'm sorry.
Notice they only know that, but nobody else.
The brain cells. To me, the brain cells thing is as silly as the red and blue Superman, right?
Oh God, that was
God. Okay, let's end this conversation because if we're gonna go into that,
we keep red and blue. We keep red and blue Superman as a part of the continued discussion of Superman. No, we let that go. Tony Stark brain cell thing. That's not really going to be a core part of the discussion of the character a year from now.
Yeah, but definitely. I mean,
what the hell is this?
Because it goes to the point where there was discussion and people were talking about, are you going to make a Black Widow movie? And Feige has dodged that so much, where especially after Captain America, Winter Soldier, that whole spy espionage angle was a great way to push that character. You didn't have to make a big budget movie. You could have done something that did really well. And even to this very point, Feige has said, with that part. So it's that kind of thing where...
We're waiting to see what the Wonder Woman movie does.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get that part, but that's something you could always put down the slate and read.
Yeah, and also with Marvel's sort of expansion.
I don't think they want to keep kicking it down, kicking the can down, and keep kicking the can down, and keep kicking the can down.
Because I think they could have
put a promise on it.
I think they could have made a bigger splash if they had gotten a movie out before Wonder Woman. This actually like plays into DC's hand perfectly.
Yeah.
At this time right now to be talking about a female superhero, and then Marvel comes out and goes, "Oh, we've got one too."
Yeah,
sort of, except that she's not super. She's just a human.
Well, they have Captain Marvel coming out in 20. 2020. I
They
think, or
technically got a
2019.
few, but you got to remember, Marvel does have
That's
a
3
few
years
more
from
that
now.
Marvel does have a few more that they can use than DC. DC has this one big hit with Wonder Woman. That one.
But that's enough.
But it
Although
gets
I
scarce
could-
with them after that.
I mean, they are trying to do what do you call it? Gotham City Sirens. The Batgirl is coming out also.
Zatanna can definitely.
You know, I mean, they have
that.
characters. Again,
Yeah.
it's B characters, but at this point, we all know you can make B characters into great movies.
You can make a B character an A-lister.
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter at this point.
Thanks to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. But also again, and Batgirl is probably the next one because it has the Batman name. Number one, adds to its reference there, and that's a character you can easily push out, which Josh Whedon is writing and directing. So it's something where DC.
Is it going to be Alicia Silverstone? Please let it be Alicia
She's been
Silverstone.
campaigning for it. She's been campaigning.
No,
she said she
no.
would be a better Batgirl this time.
No.
Everybody was like, no.
I would hate watch the ever living.
I would.
I love that you're like, I would hate watching.
Like I would too.
Yeah, big time.
No, seriously, I think it was this last week. She was like, I would be a much better Batgirl than I was in Batman and Robin.
Oh Lord, let's forget that whole genre of movies.
Anyway, guys, let's wrap up.
Somebody's playing this Superman red and blue shit.
Oh
God, no!
Not have time.
No.
Don't
start.
pass
Don't.
you off to a Wikipedia entry.
You would lose your respect
for
for
Superman
Man of Steel.
comics.
You would lose your respect for the Man of Steel.
What they do? Split his personality?
Yeah,
It goes beyond that too.
It goes,
it gave him electrical powers. Oh God, it was bad, man.
This is actually worse. That's actually worse than pre-crisis, because you remember in pre-crisis, Superman had telepathic powers.
Yeah,
he had, but this one they just it's
They gave him powers that made no sense to what it was.
It was on par with like Superman 4, like all of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
The
exactly.
Great Wall of China, and in Superman 2 where he pulls the S off his chest and it becomes a net.
No. That was a shrink wrap. That was a shrink wrap.
That was a cool shrink wrap. I like that.
Like, here's my super shrinky dink.
Anyway, guys, let's round up. We've kind of gone over, but thank you everyone for watching. And I
actually got to take off myself.
You got to take off? Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Take it easy, man.
Take it easy.
All right. We apologize for the technical difficulties which Hangouts gave us. I had to, of course, log in twice. Everybody had to do other things to come back into the show. But thanks again for watching and just, staying tuned. We get to the point quickly and we talk about what's on our channels and what to expect next week. So, Mr. Hornback, now, can you kick it off quickly?
Yeah, I've got a couple things coming up. We're going to have a debate video on Pocket Now, something that we're going to try and experiment a little bit more with and how we can talk about certain tech issues. VidMe, I've got another video up from movies you may have missed. Unfortunately, one of our old episodes seems to have been lost forever, so we had to skip over. But episode 15, where we review Better Luck Tomorrow, is up on VidMe. And then for Gadget Guy, I'm going to be probably pushing some more political commentary as we get into the FCC fight. I posted another vlog talking about the process for how we leave public comments and how that might benefit the conversation on net neutrality if this FCC chairman decides to finally strip it. And I'll also be throwing some shade at Western Digital over their NAS solution, because it's one of the worst products I've ever purchased.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know they still offered those things. But yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, they're bad.
Here's something here quickly before I actually state. Imagine AGI says Ghostbusters 2016 was a profitable movie with worldwide figures. No,
it
Box
wasn't.
Office Mojo, the budget was 144. It made 229. It also didn't state its marketing budget, which is probably minimum 100 million on there. So this thing did not make money. It needed to make at least 450 million to be profitable.
Yeah.
And it made 229.
I don't think that's really a fact in dispute, that this is a movie that I don't think will ever properly recoup its not only its production costs, but its production and advertising.
Yeah, just like
don't worry, they'll make another one.
I mean, they'll have to. It's a big franchise for Sony.
I think they're going to go back to the drawing board
and
years and do something completely different. Yeah.
I mean, just like Just like King Arthur. King Arthur lost 70 million, and that was a fun movie.
It was really was a fun movie.
Especially for how aggressive they were in pushing Guy Ritchie into every single promotion interview they could. They just could not salvage that film at all, and that's really kind of a shame.
Imagine, in terms of DVD and streaming figures, I'll say it's very low. One of the best DVD sales from last year was Suicide Squad and BVS, and both of them are around $75 million.
Yeah, there really isn't a secondary market for direct sales recoup on DVD anymore. It's the way that we've kind of moved to streaming. Those types of rental and purchasing fees just don't really make up as significant a portion of the box office. That the opening weekend is king. Yeah. After that, I mean, if you're still making money, great. But if you can't make your nut in that first 72 hours, you're proper screwed. Yeah, I think the last time, when did Man of Steel come out? 2005 or... sorry, 15, right? Or 14?
I think 15. Yeah, 15.
That was the last time that you saw Man of Steel had the best streaming DVD that year, and it really helped push its bottom line overall. That was the last time you saw it. 2013. Wow, okay. All right, so 2013, that was the last time you saw that big push in terms of streaming. The only kind of movies that would do a little bit better are, say something like Wonder Woman, which would, it looks like it's tracking to do well this year. And then Star Wars. It's going to be very select movies, down the line that will do stuff like that. So, it's just not going to do well. But anyway, on our part, we have a couple of videos. I have my Galaxy S8 Plus 30-day video coming up, as well as I will have a few more headphone reviews. And I should be dropping my Sonos and Samsung Q8C review this week. Plus, Sam is heading out to Computex, so we get some stuff from Computex.
Oh yeah, we will get some stuff from Computex.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Again, apologize for the technical issues, and I promise I will be putting up stuff on the podcast. So you guys can listen to later on. This is Thunder E. Definitely check out all the channels. Mr. Warren Bowman, who just left from BW1.com. You can follow him on Twitter as well as on YouTube. And of course, Mr. Juan Bagnell, who's part of the Pocket Now Network, as well as his personal channel, Some Gadget Guy, is also Some Gadget Guy on Twitter. And he has his old shows on VidMe. And the channel there is also Some
Actually, that's VidMe Juan Bagnell. But if you
VidMe Juan Bagnell.
Or Some Gadget Guy, you're fine.
All right, cool. And Mr. Black Iron _man, that is Sam's Twitter handle, and he is part of the Booredatwork network. And of course, it's Booredatwork on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, anywhere on the web. You type it in, you will find us. This is Thunder E saying thank you, and always enjoy your entertainment.
Bam.